very good morning and welcome to Morning Cafe. Ulikwenda kuanzisha show. Anza tena.
Wewe, wacha wewe. Endelea.
This is the Morning Cafe. Karibu sana. 90 days to the end of the year. Exactly 84 days to Christmas. Hiyo countdown niliwaambia isimami hata mkikasirika aje. 84 days to Christmas tutaendelea. It is also the International Day for Non-Violence, which coincides with the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, because he was the one who pushed for non-violence. Yeah, so leo acha violence kabisa. Violence yote drop it.
Adi verbal.
Yes.
Adi ile social media.
Ata social media, no violence.
Wacha kabisa.
My name is Fred Ndimuli. Karibu sana to the show.
My name is Ann Odida. Today marks 1 year since the Social Health Authority was also launched or rolled out. Yes, October 1st. So jana and then now today marks the first day.
So niulize ile swali kila mtu uliza.
Yes.
Is SHA working?
Tell us. Talk to us. Let's take a look at the local dailies.
All right, to start off with the Daily Nation, milking taxpayers dry. That's a very disturbing one up. I have to mention this one. 136 newborns dead amid Kiambu doctors' strike. Matters health. Is SHA working? Daily Nation.
The Standard, Haiti, pain and death.
Taifa Leo, makurutu ni bonge la hongo. Wanazungumzia nini hawa?
The Star, Ogamba order JSS teachers to remain under primary heads.
Matters education. And People Daily, politics, 8 factors that could change everything in 2027, and we'll be telling you more about these 8 factors later. Matters business.
And finally, Business Daily, 3/4 of firms fail to pay corporate tax.
All right. For State of the Nation today, we'll be having Wilson Sosion, who's a veteran educationist, Gloria Uroba, former senator, and Dr. Peter Mbai, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at the DCP. Do stand by for this. We'll be looking at the biggest headlines. And of course, that debate about Jubilee and how it plays out, Fred Matiang'i into the whole conversation about the united opposition. It's still a big conversation. Plus, have you registered as a voter? Yes?
Tungeanza
na hiyo. Have you registered as a voter? That exercise continues as a continuous voter registration proceeds. Later on the show,
we'll be having the PS Higher Education and Research, Dr. Beatrice Inyangala, to talk to us about the state of higher education. It will also be joined by the CEO of HELP.
All right. Later,
we'll be having Dorothy Kioko and Peter Kimani. Dorothy is the assessor at DOC, that is the Dyslexia Organization Kenya. Utamuuliza how they manage. Ebu sema dyslexia?
Dyslexia.
All right. About education and inclusion later on.
All right. We'll be back to take a look at the local dailies in a short while. Tuvuke border tuone campaigns kule Uganda zimefika wapi. The Daily Monitor has this, what Uganda wants in 2026. It's the manifestos versus reality. As presidential candidates hit the road across the country in search of votes, this paper spoke to voters from all the sub-regions to understand what they wish could be addressed by the winner of the January 12th, 2026 general election. So kaanza kule Tororo, wanasema mambo ya infrastructure, agriculture, urban areas. Rwenzori wanataka kuna shida za flooding kule, land title issues, stall development. Bunyoro wanataka story ya urgent government action on long-standing service delivery gaps. Sound very philosophical. Lack of piped water in Bunyoro. Ankole, poor service delivery, infrastructure, development. Hata wengine wajua wanasema nini, na wanataka Kiza Besigye ni wako kwao. Kigezi wanasema poor road infrastructure, inadequate agricultural support, urban congestion. At least these ones appear to have understood what they want. Youth unemployment, service delivery. Bugisu wanataka water, roads, and solutions to high school dropout rates. As well, they want land grabbing issues resolved, especially in Bukonde and Namabasa. This is what they want. So ideally, the presidential candidates should incorporate these in their manifestos. Will they? This Daily Monitor may flip the coin. Wacha ile mwanasiasa anatuambia, si tunakuambia ile kitu anataka. Yes. That's a big story on the front page of the Daily Monitor.
All right, still in Uganda, the new vision government to recruit 2,000 medics and each regional referral hospital to get 38 consultants. That's a boost, most definitely. Museveni is here on the front page again. He was in Molotar yesterday for campaigns ahead of January 29th. Is it 29th or 27th?
January 12th.
12th, election?
Yes.
January 12th, general election.
Yes.
All right. Other stories here. Kagilanyi moves for regional development hubs. That is Bobby Wine. Mafabi promises better pay for sugarcane growers. At least the new vision, they make mention of.
Inapatia wale watatu.
Yeah.
But remember there are others.
There are others.
Nafikiri hao ndio kuna 3 horse race, ingine ni punda.
That's the new vision.
All right, let's cross over and see what the campaigns are talking about in Tanzania. Na nikiangalia front page ya hii gazeti wameka Samia peke yake kama kawaida. She's the only presidential candidate anapewa space kwa hizi gazeti Tanzania. They make no mention of any other candidate. Samia says, my plan to boost industrial development in Kilimanjaro region. She was in Kilimanjaro yesterday and made promises as well as she continues her campaigns for presidency. But this paper talks about matters economy, revealed implications of over-reliance on 2 banks. Tanzania's banking industry is enjoying record profits and strong balance sheets, but economists and private sector leaders are warning that over-dependence on 2 institutions could undermine competition, stifle innovation, and increase systemic risks. Yes, wanazungumzia bank gani? NMB Bank and CRDB Bank, which control nearly half of the market share by asset size. The other story there, ATCL announces 173 jobs in expansion drive and missed opportunity as Beekeepers Global Meeting moved to UAE. It was to be held in Tanzania initially. Kuna hii swala la wafanyakazi wa inaitwaje ile East Africa Community, inaitwaje kwa Afrika Mashariki?
Jumuiya ya Afrika
Mashariki. Bado wanasema warudishwe kazi.
Tukisalia kule Tanzania, gazeti la Mwananchi, Ruwaichi atangaza msimamo Katoliki, akemea wanaosambaza upotoshaji mitandaoni kwa masilahi yao binafsi. Sisitiza kanisa halilumbani wala kushindana na serikali. So they're also having problems, the clergy and the government in Tanzania. Anasema kwamba kwa hiyo sio tangazo linalobeba saini yake au lililotangaza kupitia kwa chancellor au katibu mkuu, hilo liwafanye kwamba sio tangazo rasmi. Alright, mwendo kasi bado kero kule Dar es Salaam, na picha hii ni abiria wakikimbilia basi la mwendo kasi jamani,
Rapid Transit
katika kituo cha Kimara jijini Dar es Salaam hapo jana. Sisi tunakimbilianga nini hivi, magari hivi. Hatuwezi jirani. Mwendo kasi bado kero kule Dar. Hukumu ya kifo kwa Rais Kabila yaibua mjadala.
This is one of the most interesting stories. How do you sentence a former president to death?
And want them to pay bond as well?
I think only in Africa, because that just causes new problems altogether. This is a DRC, yeah, where you've had coup after coup after coup, and then someone this powerful, you sentence them to death. That means they can't come home. So for him to come back home, he has to come and overthrow your governments.
Oh, wow. Huyu ni former president of the DRC, anaitwa Joseph Kabila. Mambo manne yatajwa kukabiliana na utapiamlo. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 3. Kule juu, wagombea ubunge, udiwani, mwelekeo mpya kuzisaka kura, na kampeni za uchaguzi wa mwaka huu zimekuwa na sura tofauti na ilivyoeleka katika historia ya siasa za Tanzania.
Kumbuka ni siku 27 pekee zinasalia kabla ya uchaguzi kule Tanzania. Gazeti hili halina siasa isipokuwa hapa juu. Kadogo tu hapa juu kidogo, na wazungumzia hata siasa za wanaowania kuwa marais. Ni hapa tu wagombea ubunge. The rest of the paper nothing. Ukija hapa kwa Citizen 27 days to election, ni hapa juu tu wana mention kidogo Samia, tuna move on from that. We talk about something else.
We are concerned on the behalf. Hata wajali
they don't take their politics seriously. All right, so those are the regional dailies. Let's take a look at the weather forecast. We were witnessing some trends yesterday, some cooling off that was expected over the next few days. Tuone kama wameanza cool off, especially at the coast. This is Kilifi, 22 degrees Celsius, feels like 25. It promises to be a cloudy day, highs of 29 degrees, which is a bit high. But this will portend for the rest of the week into next week. So nothing like cooling expected there. Very little precipitation as well expected in Kilifi. Kule joto iko proper holiday weather.
Kama Turkana pia, it's 27 degrees this morning. It feels like 28. That is very, very hot. Highs of 34 degrees and precipitation kutakuwa na kidogo hapa Turkana, 0.8 millimeters.
Yes.
It is a very hot day.
They do expect some slight cooling tomorrow, dropping from 34 to 31 degrees. But then again, come the weekend, in Nairobi 32 into Monday, by next week back to 34. So nothing different in Turkana. Kule Ukambani in Machakos, it is quite warm this morning, 16 degrees. Promises to be a partly cloudy day. Highs of 32 degrees in Machakos. Abatu, about 60 kilometers from Nairobi, 32 degrees. Lakini some cooling expected as we get to the weekend. It will drop to about 26 degrees. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, maybe balance that 28 degrees. So 32 is the highest that we'll witness in Machakos. Very little chance of rainfall in that area.
Tukienda kule Nyeri, it's 11 degrees, but cooling expected over the next 4 days. It's clear with periodic clouds today, clear skies, highs of 24 degrees. Precipitation in Nyeri, 1.1 millimeters.
As far as that cooling trend is concerned, today highs of 24. But into the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 21 degrees. By Monday, the lowest, 19. The lowest from this trend, the lowest highs will be 19 degrees. Then it stays there at 21 next week. So it's going to be a very cold next week in Nyeri.
Weather in Nakuru this morning is 13 degrees, feels like it. It's a partly cloudy day, highs of 24 degrees, and precipitation in Nakuru, 4.4 millimeters. This is heavy. By noon, it will rain into the night.
They also expect some cooling off into the weekend, highs of 21 degrees Saturday and Sunday. Next week, it will average about 22 degrees. So also a bit cooler in Nakuru as well. In Nairobi, it is 13 degrees, which is normal for Nairobi at this time of day. Partly cloudy for the most part of the day, highs of 27 degrees, which is very high. This is the highest we've seen this week, I think, 27 degrees. So expect a very warm Thursday, but then as we get into the weekend, it drops significantly. 26 degrees tomorrow, and then once you get to Saturday and Sunday, 21 degrees will be the highest. This means we're back to almost what we were having in August. Ile kijibaridi cha asubuhi on Saturday.
It will rain.
It's going to be a very cold Saturday, and a lot of rainfall expected in Nairobi at the weekend. Yes.
The whole day into the night. Hopefully.
Wait. So kama uko umepanga harusi weekend, pole. Hii italeta shida. All right, that's the weather situation across the country. Let's take a look at the traffic at exactly 1:15. And most roads are looking very fine this morning. A bit of traffic along further Tasia on Outer Ring Road, but nothing out of the ordinary. Pale Jogoo Road, Makadara kama kawaida. Once you get to Shauri Moyo, hakuna traffic. Na Machakos bus station, pale Muthuru, hakuna traffic pia. A bit of traffic ukiingia Haile Selassie Avenue, pale Railways roundabout. But after that, everything else is okay. Thika Road 2 today is looking very comfortable. Si kama jana kulikuwa na shida pale Pangani Interchange. And this is from as far back as Ruiru all the way to the Pangani Interchange. Kidogo tu. Even those guys coming from Kiambu Road will enjoy this one today. Other than that, nothing else to report in as far as traffic is concerned. The other side of town is green all the way. Mombasa Road, pale first floor and ground floors, what is it called, green, all the way from the airport to the city center. That's the traffic situation this Thursday morning.
All right, let's have the quote of the day.
You have to believe in yourself when no one else does.
All right, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies in depth. The big story there on the front page of the Daily Nation is about milking taxpayers. They say shadowy farms are set to receive 17 billion shillings payout. It's a number of farms that are claiming money from the government over the years. Kenyans will foot a bill of at least 17 billion in awards to contractors that are bankrupt, mired in corruption allegations, or struggling under the weight of long overdue debts. Disclosures by the National Treasury for the 2025-26 financial year indicate some of the farms lining up for the windfall had bribed Kenyan officials to secure the deals, and that is like SBI International of Israel, which had been fined over 9 billion shillings by an Israeli court for bribing Kenyan officials to secure contracts. Now, courts have awarded them 6.4 billion shillings. These are awards from courts, yes. So kuna kampani kama zingine installer clones. Vulcan Limited, Edelman Property. There's Nyoro Construction, a very famous road construction company. Since the Moi regime, the firm has been chasing 1 billion shillings, including accrued interest, with the latest court award last year. So that's a story on pages 4 and 5. But I think this story down here should have been the bigger one. 136 newborns dead amid Kiambu doctors' strike. You can imagine how many families are crying, how many mothers who are hoping to get children over the last 3 or 4 months are mourning the loss of their children. 136. At least this number of children, newborns, died in Kiambu County hospitals since the start of the doctor strike, now in its 127th day. The deaths have been recorded at Kiambu and Thika Level 5 hospitals, according to data by the Doctors Union. Now, the deaths reported in May were 18, in June another 18, in July 14, August 18. That's at Kiambu Level 5. In Thika, the average May 6, June 9, July 7, August 11, and September 35. So things are actually getting worse as we go by. Now, this brings up the question, because now doctors have gone on strike in Kiambu.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, doctors are not on strike, so children are not dying. Should actually the management of staff in the health sector be managed centrally and not by individual counties? Because now you can see in Kiambu, kuna strike ya doctors, and it is resulting in deaths. Now what do we say?
Doctors have actually issued a strike notice, so members of KMPDU are set to go on strike.
Because of what's happening in Kiambu?
Yes.
Yes. That means nationwide this could happen, but shouldn't it be the case that probably all the medical personnel are managed the way the teachers are managed by TSC from a central point, instead of leaving it to individual counties where governors wako na mambo yao? So that story is there on page 10 of this paper. You can read more on that. 136 newborns dead amid Kiambu doctor strike. I believe, I don't know about you, Anne, but I believe this should have been the bigger headline. Striking dons defy salary freeze threat. That's Matters University Education. We'll be having the PS in charge of higher education in studio with Anne later on. Trump warning to Kenya and military aid. Jana alisema alitulump in the same sentence with Somalia. In fact, Kenyans were more offended that I wish hata angetupatia sentence yetu kando. Aseme military in Kenya, alafu akaekaya pause, alafu aseme even in Somalia. Lakini alituweka na Somalia kwa sentence moja. Guys were so offended. Wanasema ndio chukua jeshi yako, chukua hata usiwalete, lakini usituweke kwa sentence moja na huyo jirani. Jirani wengine sawa, lakini usituweke sentence moja na huyo jirani. Kenyan activist named in Time Honours list, and this is a person who was in trouble, Rose Njeri, who was in trouble with the government a few months ago because of something she had done online. That's a Daily Nation. Back page of Daily Nation, iko na nini? Matters Sports wears a gold, concerns as Kenya's male athletes struggle. Remember World Athletics Championship, hatukupata gold hata moja kutoka mwanaume. Did we? 800 meters?
No, we didn't.
Oh, ama zilipunguka, lakini nafikiri kulikuwa na moja. Yeah. Anyway, Matters Sports.
Emmanuel Wanyonyi had gold.
Matters Sports. All right, that's the Daily Nation.
All right, the Standard, Haiti, pain and death. A deadly gamble. Kenya's 15-month mission in Haiti ends not in triumph but in tragedy. 3 officers dead, families grieving without closure, and a force plagued by understaffing, poor equipment, and diplomatic mess-ups. Now, as the UN ushers in a new gang suppression force that might include the Kenyan officers or leave them out, the question lingers: Was Kenya's a costly gamble a symbol of solidarity or a reckless venture paid for in blood? Here on the front page of this newspaper, the soldiers who lost their lives in Haiti, and the latest one should be, was it Bernard Kaviru, the one whose mother learnt about his death from the president-elect in the UN. You know, where is the empathy and compassion for, in terms of such a situation? You know, this story is on page 4. Haiti, pain and death. Tukiangalia ndani haraka haraka because time is also running. They're saying that today marks the official end of Kenya's leadership of the multinational security support mission in Haiti. And for 15 months, Kenyan police officers have been in Caribbean nation, more than 12,000 kilometers away, attempting to bring order to a country gripped by gang violence, political collapse, and humanitarian disaster. All right, AG backs Kanja in fight to retain police payroll. It's another story here given coverage on page 9. No let-up as lecturers vow to stay put. That story is on page 3. Boardroom war deepens in cricket Kenya. And on the back page, Liverpool walking alone as Slot now faces reality check is another story there. And Slot says even though his team lost, the performance was different to the loss to Palace. And Osimhen's 16th minute penalty was all Galatasaray needed to beat the EPL champions. That's the Standard.
All right, from the Standard, take a look at the Taifa Leo. Nasema makurutu ni bonge la hongo. Seneta ambia wenzake kwamba wale wanaotaka kujiunga na kikosi cha polisi wanaitishwa takriban 400,000. Yeah? Ni seneta mgani hapa? Seneta Boni Halwale wa Kakamega. Anasema Wakenya wengi wanatakiwa walipe zaidi ya shilingi 300,000 ili waingie jeshini na ulazimika kuuza mali yao. Ndio habari kuu pale kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili. Habari nyingine, Waititu kuendelea kusota katika jela. Gavana wa zamani wa Kiambu kosa benki ya kumpa dhamana ya milioni 53.5 milioni iliyohitajika na idara ya mahakama. Huyu amekaa sana. Kwingineko pale chini, Sonko sasa arudishiwa mamilioni. Mahakama Kuu yaagiza milioni 30 za Mike Sonko zilizofungiwa kwenye akaunti 10 ziachiliwe. Kwingineko, mwanafunzi afa baada ya kuadhibiwa, na hadithi kama hizi zinaendelea. Ni kasichana kadogo tu. Msichana afa kutokana na kile kinachodaiwa ni majeraha baada ya kichapo cha mwalimu. Masuala ya kule DRC, koti ya kijeshi ya mhukumu Kabila kifo. To be honest, nafikiri hapo wana mchezo kiasi. Kuna kama mchezo kidogo mahali.
DRC. Kabila ni mtu by the way.
Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
The Star, Ogamba order JSS teachers to remain under primary heads. They wanted autonomy. Lakini tuangalie, this story has been covered on page 4 and 5. CSA's Ruto team proposal cannot be easily overturned. And they're saying why graduate JSS teachers will remain under primary heads. The Education CS told senators on Wednesday the arrangement was based on recommendation of the Presidential Working Party on education reforms, and the revelation is a major setback for JSS teachers, most of whom are university graduates and had expected to operate independently from primary school heads. Poor Gen Z turnout greets IEBC voter registration. Wanauliza ama nichukue tu kura, baada waoni wa kupatia kura kule. Block, sioni. Revealed EACC and ending battle against forged academic papers. Another story there on page 8 of the Star. How state sunk 607 million shillings of consultancy for stadiums. Kule juu, Gen Z occupy IEBC offices, register and vote in 2027 polls. That is Nzao Mosau. And First Lady Rachel Ruto leads donation of 4.2 million shillings for 16 who died in crash. That's the Star.
All right, from the Star, we take a look at the People Daily, and it has a list of about 8 factors that it says could change everything in 2027. 1, rising cost of living, and Gen Z protests threaten his re-election. 2, Gen Z power. Youth-led protests have disrupted politics, forcing leaders to take them seriously even without a clear leader. But the question is, are they registering to vote? Amekutiwa hapa 1 and 2 Gen Z. Number 3, Raila's balancing act. Hapo sasa ndio tutajua Raila atakuwa upande gani. Number 4, young tax. Ile ilikuwa inaitwa Kenya moja. Watu kama kina Babu Owino, Caleb Amisi, Edwin Sifuna na wengine. Alafu anasema pia wana inspire Gen Z defiance. Number 5, Uhuru's comeback. Uhuru pia is a factor. Number 6, Gachagwa's rebellion. Number 7, Kalonzo's moment. Number 8, shaping into a generational clash between the youth and the system. You realize that at least out of the 8, 4 or 5 of them make reference to the Gen Z in one way or another. But the question is, are the Gen Zs understanding it? Are they understanding how much power they wield? Yeah. Anyway, race to State House. Read the People Daily. How state lost 600 million shillings on abandoned stadiums. That's another story, and I've seen that on another paper. That's the People Daily today.
Finally, Business Daily, 3/4 of firms fail to pay corporate tax, and there's a fresh data from the Kenya Revenue Authority shows that 156,232 out of over 618,000 firms on the corporate tax register paid up their fair share to the taxman, reflecting a compliance rate of about 25.2%. This story has been covered in depth on page 2 of this newspaper. 8 banks defy CBK in push to lower cost of loans. Another story there on the front page of the Business Daily. Taka kusoma more kuhusu hii, still on page 2. On the ticker, Rwanda Tea had its hardest hit by Mombasa auction price drop. Maximum payout for policyholders of foreign insurers to double. And finally, value of bonds traded at Nairobi bows gross to 2 trillion shillings.
Right, so those are the stories on your newspapers today. You can grab any of these 6 dailies that we've taken a look at to read a lot more on that. Just a reminder, we'll be having Mwalimu Wilson Sosion on our panel today. He is a former MP and also a veteran educationist and a unionist. Gloria Roba, who served in the Senate for a short few years after nomination, will be with us as well, alongside Dr. Peter Mbaye, who's the Secretary of Planning and Economic Affairs at the DCP. State of the Nation coming your way in a few minutes' time. Later on at 8 a.m.
The PS will be joining us live, Dr. Petrus Muganda, that is PS Higher Education, to talk about the state of higher education.
And after that?
Matters Education and Inclusion as well. Today in Education, we'll be having the DOC organization here, that is the Dyslexia organization of Kenya, to talk about education and inclusion.
All right. Tuangazie wachoraji leo kwenye magazeti wanasema nini, ni habari gani ambayo wameipa kipaumbele. We start off with the cartoon on the Star. And we are in a hospital bed here. Kuna Linda, it was Linda Mama, waka-cancel mama wakaeka jamii, Linda Mama jamii. Kuna jamaa hapa chini amevaa yellow na kuna spana nyingi, na kuna mwingine kule nyuma anaangalia the patient. Ana complain, nilikuwa nimeleta hapa mgonjwa na alikuwa sawa. Yakasema ako sawa zaidi. Wacha Linda Mama, sasa ni Linda jamii.
Anaifix. All right, this is the Daily Nation. Yo mambo ya Trump. What he mentioned yesterday about kitu inasema nini?
Amefunga kila mahali, hataki mtu yoyote, hataki jeshi wake watoke na hataki mtu aingie Amerika.
Atakula nyama peke yake.
Amefunga huku anakula Amerika peke yake. Milango, dirisha, kila kitu.
Umwambie kitu. All right, that's the Daily Nation.
The cartoon on People Daily iko kule mlimani. Kuna jamaa hapa na kuna crown anasema I own the mountain. Meanwhile kuna watu wengine wanang'ang'ana kupanda kukwea ule mlima. Caricature of the president and his newfound ally, the former prime minister. Wanajaribu kupanda mlima lakini jamaa anasema hii ni yangu. Wachana nayo.
Finally, the Standard SGs wako caricatured here. They say this is the official position of our party, lakini whoever is saying position of our party ako kule nyuma.
I think in according to ile headline yao ya jana.
Yes.
The Secretary Generals of many parties have gone rogue. Yeah. So that's a cartoon on the Standard.
All right. Meanwhile, do interact with us on our socials. That is TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. On X at TV47 Digital. My handle on X is at @Ann_Odida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47.
My handle on X is at Fred Indemuli. Do stand by because we'll be sampling some of your feedback as we continue the show. So start tweeting and also sending in your comments on the discussions we'll be having here. All right.
Stay with us.
world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50 going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Good morning once again and welcome to TV47. This is a Morning Cafe State of the Nation where we take a look at the big headlines this morning. Milking taxpayers drives a big one on the front page of the Daily Nation, but there's an even more worrying headline down there. 136 newborns dead amid Kiambu doctor strike. Matters health back on the front pages. Haiti, pain and death, that's on the front page of the Standard. Matters education given prominence on the front page of the Star. Ogamba order JSS teachers to remain under primary heads. And pale chini wanazungumzia poor Gen Z turnout greets IEBC voter registration, which is part of the discussions we'll be having this morning. Matters business, 3/4 of firms fail to pay corporate tax. The People Daily has a very interesting headline, talks about the 8 things that could be key factors when it comes to the 2027 election, and out of the 8, about 5 of them make reference to varying extents to Gen Z and the power they wield over the next administration or the results of the next election. But for them to be able to exercise this power, they need to register as voters. But are they doing that? That's the question we're asking this morning. We're privileged to have with us let me begin with a lady, Gloria Orwoba, who served as nominated senator. Karibu sana, Madam Orwoba.
Thank you.
We do have Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, who's a veteran educationist, a unionist, and also a former member of the National Assembly. Karibu sana, Mwalimu.
Thank you and good morning.
Good morning. And Dr. Peter Mbaye, the Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at the DCP. Of course, we'll talk about the DCP politics later on. A lot of juicy discussions. We'll come to that, Dr. Mbaye. Good morning. Karibu sana.
Good morning.
Let's focus on matters to do with voter registration. And for the 4th day, today is the 4th, for 3 days now, since the resumption of the continuous voter registration exercise, we still continue to report and record very poor turnout. Concerns have been raised because a number of younger Kenyans have been asked, and many are expressing sort of delusional lethargy in as far as them registering as voters. And Madam Orwoba, let's start with you, because what is a concern here? Younger Kenyans came out last year and we imagined that, yes, this time round, everyone wants to get involved in their civic duties. But it would appear something changed somewhere. There seems to be a sort of disillusionment that even if you register as a voter, it may not count at the end.
No, that is a narrative that I believe is being pushed by, let me say, government operatives. That's what I would say. Because it is very clear. I mean, these are the same constituency of people, the Gen Zs, the young people, that literally got cabinet secretaries fired. So if they mean business and they go to the ballot, for sure, we will not be witnessing the normal trend of voting. We will not be witnessing the normal tribal alignments, there will be this whole other constituency of people by the name of Gen Z, this whole other tribe. And if you look at the numbers of the youth in this country, and you know very well that you are not speaking their language, and you know very well that you have not really delivered the promises that you gave to the youth, then obviously you don't want them to register. So it is easy to run a narrative that your vote doesn't count, so that the youth can feel like, no point of registering, watu wanatuibia kura, so therefore I won't register. But that's a fallacy. I want to actually remind them that it is the youth that showed us the issue of Sisini numbers. You remember?
Syrian numbers.
Syrian numbers. And by the time, most leaders understood what they were talking about, it was like, come out in numbers.
But how come we're seeing very little, very few numbers?
No. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. You wait and see.
Right.
You see, the other thing is that also IEBC has not particularly been intentional on targeting the youth to go out and vote. That's why sometimes I feel like with IEBC, we are sort of already dead on arrival. Because one of the things that they should have started with is that we have these new virgin voters. They've never voted. You want to get them on the ballot, you want to get them to come out and vote, but you don't see as if that is what IEBC is targeting. Because by now, 3-4 days in, the strongest campaign I believe they should have had is for the youth, especially considering that the Gen Z demonstrations, we just got out of the Gen Z demonstrations and then the anniversary. So you would be telling these people, by the way, stop going to the streets. What you need to do is go and get registered.
All right.
Yeah.
Mwalimu Sosion, do you share in the concerns that there could be some lethargy or some disillusionment among the youth who felt that they were actually consequential last year, but in as far as the voting and electoral cycle is concerned, they don't really feel like their vote will count and therefore don't see the need to register as voters?
No, I think that is a disruptive narrative that is meant to disenfranchise the sovereign rights of the people of Kenya, particularly the youth. IEBC commissioners have just assumed office. And I think one of the first duties is reopening continuous voter registration based on the constituencies. So I think, to me, it is wrong to drive a narrative that somebody is working against the youth from voting, from registering as voters, that the architecture in place does not really actually bars the youth. So I don't think it's the right thing. What all of us of goodwill of this country should be doing is to campaign for everybody who is above 18 to register as a voter, and not just to register as a voter, to vote. It is a duty, it's a solemn duty for any citizen of this country above 18 to register as a voter and vote on the polling day. IEBC has projected that it will be able to register 28 million voters by the time we get to the next elections. But according to me, I think this is an opportunity for everybody, the youth, women, the vulnerable, and all other citizens should know that their vote counts on that particular day, and therefore they should register as voters and vote. So I think all of us, we should send out a positive message, encourage the Gen Zs and everyone else, register as a voter if you want your decision to count. Because where we are as a country, we've developed our electoral process and strengthened the institution that manage elections. From after every general election, there are always recommendations from the Supreme Court and the judicial system on what needs to be done, and that has always been done. So I think as a country, we are in the right trajectory in mounting verifiable, credible elections that are believable. The most important thing is to get everybody to register.
But there appears to be an issue of trust, Dr. Mbai, and this is where probably the concerns come from. There was a sense of urgency when the Gen Zs were out in the streets and they wanted changes almost immediately. They even were looking forward to the formation of IEBC so that they could recall members of parliament that they were not happy with. What happened to that sense of urgency? Now that it comes to voter registration, they're not really quick to take it up.
A few things, Fred. One, definitely these are young people, they have never voted. So we had expected that IBC would do something like a bit of sensitization. But number two, Fred, we have a problem with the fact that these things are being done only at the IBC offices. 290 only. The people, young people don't have fare, even 200 shillings, to go and get a matatu to go and pick a vote. That's another factor. Because a place like Naivasha, with 8 wards, all the way from Mahiu, you're being told to come from Maera. You're being told to go to Naivasha town to register as a voter. Fine, but you don't even have money to eat. You depend sometimes on your parents. Most of these people don't have jobs. They don't have money. So we are asking, and I've listened to the chairman speak very vaguely. We are writing to him tomorrow with our group of lawyers to clarify when mass registration will happen, when it will go to the wards. I mean, that is it. We have seen a lot of money being splashed. Let them not tell us there's no money. Fred, we want mass registration to happen. So let them announce. Maybe this was just a warm-up. Eh? Maybe by January, we should have mass where these kids will go around in churches, in the wards. That's number one. But number two, we are also asking the ABC to clarify to us, Fred, ourselves all here, 22 million of us who are registered, we never went through IRIS. We never went through IRIS.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
you come introduce IRIS, nobody knows why. Let me tell you, there's something called communication. There's something called information. Maybe you mean well, but who knows you mean well? If you mean well, come and tell us, even us, because these are our sisters, these are our small brothers, these are our guardians. We are the parents of these people. Come and tell us, why did you add another feature? Now, number two, would you use either or all? Okay, would you use either biometric or IRIS during the voting? And why? That's the whole question we want. Why? And then you didn't tell us. Can you imagine, Fred? We are coming to discover IRIS, the issue of I, will be used on Monday. So already people begin to feel suspicious. Like, why? But why? Okay, even if it's okay, why didn't you tell us? Yeah. So that is the second issue. But above all, what I can tell you this, Fred, seated here, young people will register as voters, but we must decentralize. They are going to pick all the votes, yes, and they are going to vote. That is going to be done. There's another issue we are pursuing, the issue of IDs, because they go together. We have been calling across. We have our team of people in all the 47 counties. So the issue of IDs, one, for record, we are asking this issue of 1,000 for lost IDs. It's going to keep off so many young people who cannot afford even 20 shillings per day. Okay. They don't know how to get 1,000. Okay. So we are writing to ABC, I think, by tomorrow, to just seek some clarification so that we engage them early, so that we hear their response, we see whether they make sense. All right. So Kenyans, please wait for a mass voter registration near your doorstep.
And okay. Fred, I just want to add on the issue of this data collection, the new form of data collection. It's not just a matter of telling us, even if it's okay. We have data protection laws, and we have laws on when it is legal for you to collect personal data. The issue of this IRIS and going to get your biometrics or any other thing, every Kenyan, any organization, whether private or government, collects their data, that organization must be able to explain to you that I am taking your biometrics because this is what I intend to do with your biometrics, and also explain to you how they are going to safeguard the storage of your personal data, and explain to you at what point they are going to get rid of that. That is in law. That is not like we are asking just to be told because we are active citizens. That is what is legally required of
Don't you
any
think that
institution.
that kind of a mistrust
Do you
and
remember-
suspicion,
there's
is what is causing all
But
this
not only that, forget the
lethargy?
For sure, the mistrust and suspicion is causing the lethargy of why do you want to take my my iris? Why do you want, for what purpose? Some of us, we have voted without that kind of data being collected. Do you remember when Safaricom started this collection of biometrics and photos and everything just for registration of your SIM cards? The matter, I raised the matter in Senate through a statement. Till today, they have been unable to explain why the hell they were collecting data from Kenyans. They have been unable to explain where that data was stored, and they have been unable to actually go out to Kenyans and tell them, after 12 years, or after 12 months, or after this period of time, I will then get rid of your data. And that is illegal. In fact, as we speak right now, people in Safaricom should be arrested. So now when we have the IEBC coming now to say that it is not enough to have your biometrics, your fingerprints, we also now want to capture this sensitive part. Because you know also, what they're trying to capture, it is a unique identifier.
The IBC chairperson yesterday confirmed.
Listen, Fred, what is the gap? You see, if you don't tell Kenyans, what is the gap that you are trying to close?
The IBC chairperson raised this concern and said that the situation in Kenya, and that this is why probably we have the most expensive elections in the world, is because there's a lot of mistrust. Yes, in the process, a very poor level of confidence in the electoral process, hence the need to adopt even newer technologies to try and boost the level of confidence.
No, Fred, let me tell you what that is about. Somebody requires a tender. Somebody requires to be paid. Someone got this nice, beautiful system that is supposed to be used maybe for airports and all other places where you need your iris to be captured. But not at the ballot. Because remember, Fred, unless someone explains to me that suddenly our fingerprints can match and now we need another unique identifier.
I hear you, and that may very well be. But there's a real issue about the trust deficit that the IEBC faces. Mwalimu Sosion, we've had contested elections for the past almost 20 years. Yes, every election, especially at the presidential level, has been contested in court. And there's a general feeling, even especially by the young people, because, and that's where our focus is, that even if you register, your vote will not count. The politicians are not making it any better when they come out in public fora and tell people that, yes, we're going to rig the elections and we're going to stuff ballot boxes with ballots. Don't you think, and by the admission by the IEBC chairperson, that there is very poor trust in the IEBC and the processes, that is a problem that could end up making young people not register?
Yeah, what the IBC chair is saying is a fact. It's the truth that many of us fear saying, because we have stereotyped the country to develop very low trust in our institutions, particularly institutions that are creatures of the 2010 Constitution, and which have been proved to be working very empirically and scientifically. So I think that's a fact that has been talked about. So that then the art of turning around this narrative so that all of us can believe in the electoral process when they are right, and they've mostly been right, they've been proved by the courts, the Supreme Court in 2013, 17, and 22. And the fact that our electoral system is getting more electronic, and it should. It should reach a time that by 9 p.m. of the polling day, you should be calling the elections, of the presidential elections, because there is no reason why it should be delayed.
So how does the iris help?
There are more polling stations than before, and there's more employment of ICT infrastructure in place, and the polling ends at the polling station. That's a fact for sure. We should be able to get provisional results of the presidential results by 9 p.m. And so trying again to bring in the politicians who are actors and they have interest, that's a fact for sure. And they will propagate any statement which are not empirical. Those are just propaganda. You know, let us not be slaves to propaganda. If we enslave the country to the kingdom of propaganda that some politicians are saying we'll stuff the ballots and do, where Where do political individuals and politicians come in to control the process that is under the full control of IEBC, complete with security and complete with observers, complete with agents? I think the most beautiful thing that we can do in any political progress of a country is to mount free and fair elections.
All right.
Never worry about the outcome.
But Sosion has to answer because he's
think,
talking about propaganda. My question to Sosion, which is a question, it's not propaganda. He's talking about by 9 p.m. we should have provisional results, presidential results, right? How does it help to add a more bureaucratic process? I mean, how does taking now my biometrics and my iris...
You don't think proper identification of a voter...
No, it's not about proper identification. Now he's talking about a time factor, that we are taking too long to have even provisional results. We are using biometrics, which is a unique identifier. Nobody has the same fingerprints as the other. By adding an extra step of the iris, I want to understand how does that shorten the process, number one? Because you remember, they're not going to be using the same BVR. So you have the iris identifier and then you have the BVR.
Okay.
So you're actually creating a bureaucracy.
And I don't think Bwana Sosion is probably the best person, the most qualified to answer that question.
No, but then you should not talk about propaganda when Kenyans are asking questions.
All right, I think we should bring probably the idea to answer why
when we ask
necessary.
questions, it should not be a blanket
the right
of propaganda.
To rebut, but in a modest way to my friend here, and a strong fight of social justice. If IEBC has designed different ways of identifying and it is proved to be working scientifically, I don't think it's right for us to build a lot of negativism around it. It is not. What we need to interrogate is how effective is it? What are the differences that it's coming with? We interrogate, we ask questions.
That's what
the
we're doing.
The most important thing
is
to ask questions.
That's what we're doing.
And so, iris identifier and finger biometrics are known to be used procedurally.
Okay.
So
are known to be used in which democracy and in which election?
Are known to be used in identifying. You know,
no, but in which election?
Let's not focus too much on the iris identifier.
If we discuss,
my concern.
But
the concern remains. We are trying to have effective elections. We are trying to have fair and credible, and we are in a country that
we've
has
agreed
debt.
It's only IBC that can justify the need for
IBC,
that.
yes. And the mistrust that we have is because you cannot wake up something that's not broken. What are you trying to fix?
All right, but the issues raised by the IBC chairperson, those are definitely legitimate issues.
Yeah.
When it comes to issues of trust around the IBC process.
You have said something very important. Now, let us agree, and I want to be very categorical as we move on. We have a lot of, actually the polls give them like, is it 50%? Mm-hmm. I think 50 or 60% disapproval. 50% to be fair, I think. That is a very low for somebody who is supposed to be an umpire for an election. But where did we start? Fact is, we just shut our eyes and said, because of time, let us not go back to clear this thing, because the system took advantage of the fact that time had gone and pushed down our throats. Commissioners who we all know, most of them, I think 3 or so, were state officers. So it's true. What the chairman is saying, I am happy he knows that people thought that Commissioner Noor, for example, came in under the addendum, so it was an afterthought. People know that Anderito, of course, she was a state officer. People know the Commissioner, Fahima, was a state officer in Lamu. People know that that's what people suspect, that the chairman came there courtesy of the deputy status comptroller from Turkana. Can we be very candid, first of all, so that we know when he is saying that there is a lack of trust, why we are suspicious of IBC. So let's start from there. But then now, because they are there, but it's very important to lay that foundation to answer him and you, Fred. But number 2, for me, as a leadership and governance expert, I've been telling these people, the moment you take a Bible and swear, please, maybe somebody was good enough to propose you. But the moment you are proposed, can you now demonstrate by action how you talk, how you behave, how you carry yourself around that you are independent? Okay. That's the only prayer we can make now, because Fred, somebody has to come from somewhere. Somebody maybe knew you and thought that you're going to use you. Can you prove them wrong? That now I'm no longer the guy from Turkana. I'm no longer the person from Lamu where I can be receiving calls. I'm no longer the person from where my former PC, Null, comes from, where I can receive calls at night. It is for them to demonstrate. But now, the question comes, Fred, you bring Iris. Nobody knows about it. You have not justified why. I can tell you this, Fred. We winked and said, let us proceed. But we are going to write a letter to IBC to explain to us categorically in a way we can understand to IBC. And by the way, it has to be very well understood. Okay. The young people, I was asking them, why are they not complaining? One of them, we don't know how it is done. We thought this is what it happens.
Yeah, because they have never.
Hold that thought. Let's take a break. When we come back, we finalize on this conversation about the voter registration and the concerns that are being raised around the process itself. You're watching Morning Cafe.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth, as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50 going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips and the other one
All right, welcome back. We want to finalize on this conversation about the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise that resumed this Monday, of course, under the supervision of the IEBC. And a lot of concerns raised about especially the new way of collecting data and the scanning of the iris. They're going beyond the fingerprints. But before I give you a final chance, my panelists, let me just sample some of the views of our viewers. Pilipili Hoho anasema Kisii wanawakilisha. Keys Nebatorinda watching live from Uganda. Thank you so much. Makori Orina, IBC will deliver a credible poll in 2027. We do hope they do. He goes on ahead, following keenly the best morning show in Kenya. Definitely Morning Cafe is the best morning show. Daniel Shitandi Onyango, good morning, Fred. Why should IBC allow us to vote and register? Why shouldn't IBC allow us to vote or register online? That's a question. Yes, we need to improve and probably adopt a lot of technology, but this particular technology is causing a lot of ripples here and a lot of problems. A final word on this. What do you think should happen? Do you think this issue of the new way of collecting data could cause a lot more reluctance for people to register as voters? Because my concern right now is the fact that younger people appear a bit reluctant to register as voters. Mwalimu?
If you want to vote, register as a voter, regardless of the conditions for registration, so that you are in the role of voters register. And as a country and as a democracy, we should be advancing our approach to electoral process, to believability. We should be shedding doubts. But of course, ask hard questions. There's nothing wrong with asking hard questions, like the IRIS system. IBC has to explain to Kenyans the benefit that it is adding into the electoral process. I don't work for IBC, and I may not be so qualified to defend it, but I know that is one of the methods of identification. Two, the voter registration, if you look at democracies like the US, you can register on the polling day as a voter or closer and still cast your vote, because there are citizens who are attaining minimum age of voting and are being encouraged to vote. We have seen in the UK, for example, the voting age has been reduced from 18 to 16. Mm-hmm. Is it probably time we think in that direction as Kenyans? You know, we must now reason progressively towards the future and a better future, that we should not be able to discuss on registration as a voter. It should be a guaranteed right, so that then political parties can go and concentrate on their manifestos and try to win the trust of voters, because in an election, the numbers count. If you register 28 million voters, what is the percentage that you would expect really the threshold to participate in election? It's also not good to have voter apathy in a democracy. Anybody who does not vote is not patriotic. To me, if you have registered as a voter, and I want a Kenyan who can come out and say, I've been disenfranchised from registering as a voter. That must be guaranteed as not just as a citizen right, but a human right. Mm-hmm. Voting should be treated as a fundamental human right. What a voter decides on the ballot should not be the business.
Yet this problem of voter apathy is not the first time it's coming up.
And then lastly, the continuous voter registration currently, as per policy, goes on at the IBC office at the constituency. Then there is the massive that will be conducted at the polling station. It comes far much later. But I think as a country, we should think of a way of improving our voter registration system to capture new voters who are coming of age. And we don't need to close it a bit early. So, and I think what we need now is to encourage citizens to register as voters. And we reduce the negativism around this voter registration. And I think the most important thing is to mobilize and organize. Right. What are we doing to organize? Are we lamenting previously and complaining?
No,
let us not be a nation of lamenting.
It is a real problem.
A nation that makes strides and progress.
Listen to this. One of our viewers, Lusigi Justice, says voter registration drive is really a waste of time. If the IEBC is biased in favor of the president, Ekuton, Nur and Derito are Ruto's people. If opposition field more than 3 candidates, Ruto will win. Now, you see, these are the concerns that people are raising. yeah, online. And this is the general feeling among the younger generation. And I'm looking at it this way, that this problem has not just started the other day. In 2022, out of 22 million registered voters, only about 14 million cast their ballots, meaning that 8 million stayed away despite having the voter's card. If we're talking about apathy, it is not a new problem, Gloria.
And I think this is, I don't want to belabor the point that that is a narrative that's being driven. I started voting in 2008. That was the first time I casted my vote. And in 2008, we also felt the same way. We were saying, even if we go to vote, you know, kura yetu itaibiwa. And you know what happened in 2007 to 2008? We had the post-election violence because indeed there was a lot of voters felt that in fact their vote did not count because they could not believe the results that were being presented to us. And since then, a lot of things have changed in terms of even how we exercise our voting rights, how we count and how the vote is transparent. Nowadays we have technology. You know, I was a chief agent of UDA in the last election, and I can tell you one of the things that we made sure when they were counting the votes at the polling station, not at the tallying center, at the polling station where you cast your vote before now they take the boxes to the tallying center. We were encouraging our agents to record everything such that if the vote is 30 at the polling station, we are not going to get surprises at the tallying center, which is now where they bring all the other boxes. But this is what I want to say, and this might sound very controversial. Every Kenyan who has not registered to vote must go and register. But I am not of the opinion that when you reach IEBC, if they tell you even now remove your clothes, you will be forced to remove your clothes because you want to vote. The right that you have as a Kenyan is to register as a voter. What we have known and what has been in law and what was okayed by the people of Kenya through public participation was the biometrics. I want to encourage every single Gen Z. Once you reach the registration and you have already given your biometrics, you have given your ID, if you are not interested in giving your iris as an additional, I want you to record when you're saying, I am not going to give you this my iris as a registration, record it, post it online, and we must, because we must call out the illegalities. They have not explained to us. So you tell them, I've given you my biometrics, I've given you my ID. Those people who are registered in 2022 never gave you their iris. What business do you have with my iris? And if that officer then tells you that you are not registered, let me tell you, we only need 5 people to record the evidence that indeed IEBC as an institution is actually denying you your right to vote. And we will go to court. Because in law, right now, there is nowhere in law where it is written that you must give your iris. Nowhere.
Right.
So in fact, what IEBC is doing is illegal. Okay. Because I did not see any public participation on whether we are going to give our iris. The thing did not come to parliament in any form, either of regulation or of a law or anything. So people can't just wake up and create things and say you must go because this is your right. A Kenyan has a right to vote. We know that the biometrics was what was acceptable and passed and through public participation. So I am urging all the youth, when you go there to register, give your ID, give your biometrics. Wakianza kukuambia hebu angalia tunataka kuchukua macho, record, kuwa na mtu hapo mwambie, mimi sitaki kukupea macho yangu. And then you tell them, have you registered me? Are you not registering me? We just need evidence of IEBC saying, we are not going to register you because you have not given us your iris.
Before Dr. Mbai contributes, Gladson Obwamo says, I think the main issue with low turnout is the inability of many youths to access information. Kuna wale hata watch news. Alafu anasema Kenyans are tired. Francis Mwirori. Kenyans are tired. Tired of what? Of voting or registering?
No. Fred, there's a way we don't want to go. No. We first of all, the issue of getting out the vote will come there. Let them first of all vote. Be registered. We are going one by one, okay? Because by August next year, the register will be crossed. So that we engage on the issue of getting out the vote. We'll manage that. And by the way, let nobody be shaken about, it will be impossible to remove the president. It is us who put in this president. And I'm saying here when Mwalimu is looking at me, 47% we know where it came from, ourselves. We know where literally we put it from. We remove it like this. Simple. So please, I want to tell Kenya, relax. We have been here. So that's number 2. Let's come back here to this issue. Please, Kenyans, relax. There's nowhere we are going, and we are going to liberate this country ourselves. Now, on the issue of voting, Me, I'm a leader. I'm a policymaker. I can't come here on TV to begin complaining. No. I think the whole night, I consult, I talk to many people, many calls from Monday. I can tell you this. Without the demonstration IBC did on Monday, they would have explained why they are doing some things. They didn't. We are writing to them, and I can tell you this, we will stop this thing. That one I can tell you. Oh,
yes. Yes.
We are not here to begin singing, complaining. The other people are watching us. They want solutions. They want to know what our leader is saying. We are our leaders. We are giving advice to the party leader. Our party leader is the official position. So we can't sit back. So that's number one. Number two, I can tell you this. We want the chairman to commit that in 3 months, by January, February, they are going to do mass registration of voters. Mm-hmm. That's number two. Let's go slowly because we have to be organized. Number three, quickly. Now, they have done away with the old BVL kits. They have introduced something called integrated KIMS kits, where they are pre-loading all the personal details of a person from the National Registration Bureau, including the IDs, right? Mm. So now, the catch here is, if they have pre-loaded, how sure are we
that those are the details?
That those are the details, and suppose they don't pre-load all as a way of suppression. You get it? Those are the issues we need clarification. And by the way, we are going in peace. Please clarify, enlighten, so that we see whether it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, we go to the next step. What we are saying, IBC, you have a chance. You are there. But I can tell you something. There are people in this country, the system. The people in the system in this government today, there is the one last hope they have to see how they can manipulate IBC in their favor. But I can tell you today, IBC was there 2022. IBC was there the other year. I can tell you the power of the vote and the power of God who gives all of us life, I can tell you is what will win in 2027. There are people who are just, around there, these things of Iris, I don't know where they want to take our eyes, this kind of a thing, yeah? And they think, let me tell you, the same people, Fred, who said there's no system and deep state in 22.
And state capture.
They went through that. And then they said, see Uchawi, it's God and prayers. That God is still alive today.
All right.
And that's the system and deep state, we shall break it.
That's the main discussion today on the continuous voter registration exercise that resumed on Monday. And the IEBC has already raised concerns about the poor Gen Z turnout, which has greeted the exercise. Now concerns being raised about even the newest introduction, the scanning of the iris or the eye, just to get more details about those who are registering as voters and whether this requirement will also be extended to those who had already registered, the other 22 million Kenyans. Of course, we do hope that the IEBC will address these issues as we go along. Now, let us switch to matters politics and the biggest conversation this week. Last week, the Jubilee Party held its National Delegates Conference, and that has been the biggest conversation this week, the return of retired President Uhuru Kenyatta to the political arena, and the possibility that Fred Matiang'i could be the presidential candidate for a Jubilee Party. They did not make that announcement on Friday, but that speculation has caused ripples and waves across the entire political divide. Both sides, the Kenya Kwanza criticizing the retired president about pronouncements he made about his tenure. The other side, the United Opposition, branding Fred Matiang'i a red wheelbarrow, a project of the administration. That is what we want to take a look at now. And we start off with let's start with Mwalimu Sosion. There are concerns about the former president returning to the political arena. There are those who feel that he should not be doing anything of that sort because of what is provided for in the Presidential Retirement Benefits Act. But those who argue, there are those who notice that he still holds his rights as provided for in the Constitution.
Well, he has rights. But I think as a country, we created an architecture of the presidency that is guided by law. And the first president to retire from office was Daniel Moi. And he retired to a loss of his own candidate. He exercised this democratic right of supporting presidential candidate. But the moment Mwai Kibaki was elected, his respect and that of statesmanship from himself and his office shifted to Mwai Kibaki. And he retired to Kabarak. And never at any time in his retirement, did he contradict the sitting head of state, or did he come back to discuss his success as in development agenda of the country as a president, or to point out developmental or governance failures during the administration of Mwai Kibaki? He respected Kibaki, and that is a culture that was envisaged in that bill, and it should bind every other retired president. Kibaki, the same. When he retired, when he was exiting, he handed over power, and peacefully he went and relaxed at home. He never came back to audit and comment on what President Uhuru Kenyatta was doing as president. What Uhuru Kenyatta is doing, those of us who supported him, to date, we regret why we had to do it. Because he's very notorious for engaging in mischief in the name of political rights. And that is not what we expect from a statesman. And the president, and the only living president for that matter. By now, within 6 months, as per the Act, he's expected to have handed over leadership and control of political parties. So that after 6 months, a retired president is as good as a president, as per traditions and practices. You enjoy state protection, you enjoy state parks, you enjoy international privileges, you are a privileged person. But when it comes around to talk like an opposition leader, it baffles all of us. That's not the right thing to do. He should have handed over his political party, and he's free to exercise his rights and conscience at the ballot. The rest of Kenyans can do other things. That is the culture and institution that was instituted in this country. In 2032, we expect William Ruto to vacate the presidency. And we don't expect him to go and engage in active politics,
we see retired
undermining
in Tanzania.
a sitting president.
In Tanzania, we see Jakaya Kikwete campaigning for Samia Suluhu.
That's a different thing. In Tanzania, that's the culture of Tanzania. They have their own law and their own other things. And that's another democracy at another level. Ours, we are a sophisticated democracy. Even in the US, the retired presidents, they don't come out openly.
Barack Obama campaigned.
No. They don't come out. They don't come out openly during outside election period to undermine the sitting president. But then they are free to campaign for their political parties at the right time. That's what happens in Tanzania. Okay. What we are seeing here in Kenya, it's not good for the country. But nevertheless, it has happened.
Gloria, do you agree
with
Sossion?
I want to agree with Sossion, which is shocking, because he's talking about never before have we ever seen a retired president coming back to talk about things. So I agree with you, because this government has given us a first of everything. This government has pushed the extremes. This administration, can I tell you, for instance, never ever before have we ever seen the breakdown of health, education, agriculture, tourism, all at once to these levels. It has never happened in any administration, even Jomo Kenyatta's administration. I wasn't even alive, but even history shows us it has never happened. Never ever before have we seen the level of corruptions. And I'm saying this knowing very well that I was part of this government. Never have we seen this level of corruption. Even during Moi time, simply what this government has done is devolved corruptions to the... Basically, everybody is just like scampering to make all the money they can and run. We have never seen it before, so I want to agree with Sossion. This government has given us a first of everything. Never before, and just allow me to say this, have we ever had parliament in the highest of demonstrations been burnt down. The invasion of parliament and being burnt down, that shows you that people reached extreme you know, wamesukumwa to the end that they felt that they needed to break into parliament and burn it down. We've never witnessed, even during the 2007-2008 post-election violence, parliament was not burnt down. You understand? Never before, also, have we seen ludicrous projects being propagated by government. Let's build a church in State House. We've never seen this kind of craziness before. You understand? Never before in my life, and I am 39 years going 40. So I have been an adult at least for a couple of years and experienced the administration. Never before have I directly, as a Kenyan, been conned by a state officer directly in a government office. But now we have a program led by government in the name of labor exports, where Kenyans are being conned, not by conmen out there around the offices of government, by government. They are actually being conned by government. We have never seen that. So never before have we ever impeached a deputy president on very flimsy grounds. I voted to impeach him because I know that 11 counts that were brought, 10 were not even substantiated. Only one was proven that indeed he said shareholding. Never before have we seen a deputy president being impeached on those flimsy grounds. But this administration has shown us that indeed anything can run. Anything can go. Never before have you seen a nominated senator being removed from office illegally, and then the courts reinstating her and saying, by the way, you people were wrong, she needs to be reinstated back. And Parliament, the Speaker, the Clerk of the Senate, and the whole full House, Parliamentary Service Commission, outrightly chest stamping, going against the law. We have never... Sosion was a nominated senator. Ask him. He was a nominated MP. Himself, when we were coming to studio, he told me it's ludicrous, and he knows that those people know that is wrong. Never before have we witnessed these kind of things happening. You understand? But listen to me. But listen to me. Let me just finish. Listen to me. These things have happened.
Okay.
Never before have we seen Kenyans being shot
so on
in front
Uhuru
of
Kenyatta.
Parliament. So I want to agree with Sosion that never before have we had a retired president coming back to say, hey, what the hell are you guys doing? But it is because this administration has pushed the limits on everyone, including a retired president, such that he had to come back and tell you, why did you remove Linda Mama? A retired president has to come and tell you black and white things. Why the hell did you remove Linda Mama? You have 140-something, 36 children dying. Why did you remove a retired president? Did you need a retired president, Sosion, to come and tell you sit down and honor CBOs with teachers? You don't need that. Did you need a retired president to tell you guys, sincerely, this thing is not so hard, make healthcare work? You don't need it. But you guys have pushed the limits.
Okay.
You understand? So at the point when I'm sitting here, I'm like, I will not be surprised that this is the government that will give us a first of everything, because it's an experimental government. And quite frankly, Fred, Kenyans are tired of this experiment.
Okay.
Me personally, I'm also tired. It's like, you know, the Hustler Nation movement, very good, but this experiment has lasted far too long.
Okay, Sabaya says Kibaki and Moi retired when they were too old. Kibaki even became ill immediately. Probably that's why, according to him. Morugi Gitonga says we are indeed a sophisticated democracy. I don't know in response to what question, but back to the question of the involvement or the comeback of the retired president into politics.
I'll tell you two things, Fred. There is nothing wrong with the retired president being the party leader of Jubilee. There's nothing wrong if he wants to continue being. There's nothing wrong with coming to say, because he's a resident of this country, he can see the way things are going. He came and spoke about removing Leader Mama, replaced it with Leader Ngombe, I think, then Leader Baba. You know, those kind of things, because he's still leader in the Mama, or Leader Ngombe, some vaccination, then it's Baba who is being, you know. He spoke about all these kind of the ills, corrupts of education, university lecturers on the streets for the first time. They have had before, but we never thought, a PhD holder, being the president, he would understand a bit about education, okay? So, kids are dying. Kids are being held in hospitals in Eldoret, in Thika. I have heard news this morning. It was very, very devastating. 100-something died, young bones.
See on the front page of the Daily Nation, 136 newborns dead.
Imagine.
And I'll tell you this, Fred. This is a pain that the children of the voters are the ones who are dying. But the children of the big bosses, they're in Aga Khan, in big hospitals, abroad, right? But the people who woke up to vote for government, their children are left to die. This is a painful thing about this. So when the former president comes and says, hey guys, well, guys, you are taking the country to the wrong direction. Then everybody begins barking all over the place. Oh, you shouldn't. Oh, we are going to remove your retirement. Let them try. We are a country that should be led by systems and structures. If I cannot be, the fact that President Uhuru is retired doesn't mean he's out of this country. Mm-hmm. And then always you begin talking about how you're going to touch his retirement packs. This is being so narrow and being so shallow. Can we remove that? Number one. Number two, he has all the rights to continue being the party leader. Why were people expecting him to hand over? Why? I mean, why? Is there a law that says that he should hand over if he doesn't want to hand over? The only thing yesterday I looked at the newspapers. All the 6 newspapers is about regarding this side, Uhuru this side, and the mountain. People should relax. And by the way, Fred, if you don't come from the mountain, relax. That's a family issue.
We should
wait. I'm just saying, I'm here now, all right? Yes. Relax, because it is a family issue. Can you allow the family to sort out their internal issues before they go to the market?
Then allow me to ask you this question, because now this is coming from your end.
Yes.
Now that we are switching from Uhuru Kenyatta now to Fred Matiang'i's involvement in Jubilee Party, and the kind of sentiments we've seen from your colleagues. Wakili Ndegwa Njiro has been very vocal. Yes, we've seen that Jubilee being branded Red Wheelbarrow. And a project of William Ruto. And you're saying we should ignore this?
Good. I'm just saying, first of all, we expect you, of course, brothers and sisters can check out, what's happening in the other family. But please, your interest should just go to checking out. Please allow the family of the Mount Kenya, because the dynamics there are another thing. Hold on a bit. Now, this is what we are saying. I saw that and I said, people don't understand Mount Kenya. Relax. Finally, Mount Kenya, they settle on leadership in an organized way. We had Kibaki. When Uhuru wanted to vie in 2007, he was told, wait a minute, you have to line up here. Support Kibaki. Your time is coming. So right now, we have a leader who has emerged naturally as a political leader. Uhuru Kenyatta has a space. Please mark my words. There is a way the Mount Kenya is organized. Uhuru Kenyatta is our leader. By the way, I heard somebody say that if you touch Uhuru Kenyatta, you are going to touch Kiambu, leaders are going to wake up. Uhuru Kenyatta is not a regional chief of Kiambu. He is a retired president of Kenya. He actually is an international figure by the virtue that he's retired. So please, let us not go discussing Uhuru Kenyatta in a very pedestrian way. So this is what I'm saying. Uhuru Kenyatta has a light, he has his place, both in Kenya and also in Mount Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua is the senior most political leader, active political leader today. There is a way those things will gel. They will gel. The Mount Kenya voter, they know what to do.
The question is, why is it a Mount Kenya issue here?
No.
Why is Jubilee's involvement?
Let me come there. Let me quickly, let me say. So number one, I wanted just to say, things will gel. People knew how to move on and what to do at the end of the day. But please don't mix up the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta to this petty party politics about Jubilee and DCP. Don't, because the voter knows this is the time to do this. Jubilee, DCP, we have another 20 parties for Mount Kenya. Why only Jubilee and DCP?
Yes, and
they are going to be on the ground. And you know what? The voter will know which leaders to elect on which party. Now, let me come.
It is your people who are branding Jubilee
let me now look here. There's something we cannot do.
Not really,
no.
But tell him Ndegwa Njiro is not actually...
No. Before, because there's something I want her to respond. Let me tell you. Please, we cannot afford, people have freedom. This is called freedom of speech and association. But have you seen any statement from my party leader? Have you seen me? I sit in neck. Look when I'm talking.
Secretary General.
When I'm talking, listen to me, because the way I'm sick is the official opposition of, or rather official position of DCP in terms of relating with Uhuru Kenyatta. Is a man we respect. So please take it from me from today. Can we now relax after here? Because I've made an official statement. We don't have personal wars. The only thing we are saying, this is very important now for you, Fred, is that somebody like Dr. Matiang'i, I'm now saying here because it's good to talk. We had hoped that he would come, because when we are baking a cake, everybody brings firewood. The other one, water, right? The other one, ingredients of butter and salt. Then everything comes here. The way the coalition we are doing was like this. already Kalonzo Musyoka is coming up with the more or less, I don't want to go tribal, but the Eastern, let me call it that way to make it good, all the way to coast, right? Now, Natembeya and Eugene are coming from the other 5-6 counties from that side. Now, Rigathi Gachagua had done something going forward with their mother Karua and others from this other side to some extent, right? Doesn't mean that Wiper doesn't have people in Mount Kenya. Now, we have Masai. With Akinaseki, Kamwaro, and others. We have people in Mijikenda. We have people in Northeastern, others from Rift Valley who are coming here, even though Nyanza now. Our expectation was this. Dr. Matiang'i would come, move on to the other side to mobilize 6 counties. Kisii, Nyamira, Siaya, Kisumu, Homa Bay, the 6 counties of Nyanza. Go get as many there, get a party. I will say this again.
Can't he do the
Fred,
same
hold on. Fred, give me 2 seconds. Fred, give me that second. I'm here talking, right? I'm saying our hopes were so that you come to the table saying, I've also come from the West with these kind of things. Go get, I'm not talking about UPA because I know he was associated with UPA and he has a governor and an MP and some MCAs. Go and get 10, 15, 20% of our votes in Siaya, in Kisumu, in Homa Bay, in Migori. Then come to the table. That was our hope. However, I finish now, Fred. But when we saw... No. But when we saw Fred... Wait, Fred.
Why can't he do that with Jubilee?
Wait a minute. Gloria, give me a minute. When we saw him surrounded by people who talk like and creep and walk, people we know are state agents, that is when we say, hey, man, I think you are getting it wrong. Because surely somebody who talks, sleeps, thinks like somebody who has been bought. People we know are agents. People we know that have nothing good to talk about the official opposition. They are the ones who are surrounding him and hugging him. We just pointed out. I said, man, we think you are wrong. Was it wrong to do that? It was not wrong. So we told our guy, there are 2 issues here. The people surrounding you, there are people who misread, the people who have been working against the downfall of Rigathi Gachagua. There are people who have been talking very, very vitro. Somebody who, they don't say Matiang'i for president because they love him. It's because they think they want to be the running from Mount Kenya.
Okay.
So those are the people who are rushing to embrace Matiang'i. We warned him, Matiang'i, you're on the wrong path. So 2 issues, the people you associate with, and number 2, we had hoped. And please, since I know he has gone back to US, let him go and think, come back, go to Kisii, get a party. Let him come on the table. Is that too much to ask, Fred?
Do you understand all this? Because you can see the passion with which he's talking
Yes.
about.
I like the passion bit.
Do you understand what's going on?
First, and full disclosure, on this panel, I'm the only one from Kisii. I'm the only one who's a relative of Dr. Fred Matiang'i, and I'm the only one who can actually give you information that you should hold dear and say, Oroba alituambia. He has 2 points it's understandable. Because there was an expectation that Dr. Fred Matiang'i would mobilize a regional party, and through the regional party, because politics is local, a regional party that is associated with that region would sell better so that he can have 100% of that region, or at least even 80% of that region, and then come to the table to join forces. Which is, this game, you cannot redefine the game. You can't. You can try to tweak it a little bit, but you cannot redefine the game. The game of Kenyan politics is regions. The game of Kenyan politics is you are associated by where you come from. That is why at one point, tunasema watoto wote watahesabiwa nyumbani. So you go back home, uhesabiwe. So, and there is a positive in that. Indeed, if he had a regional party, if that is the pattern he had followed, it would have been easier for him to mobilize literally 100% Kisii and Nyamira, and even stretch out to Migori and parts of Luo Nyanza. It would have been easier for him to do that. And it wouldn't have taken a lot of resources, because already in Kisii County, if you stand up and talk nonsense about Matiang'i, you are as good as finished in any political arena or in any leadership arena. So it would have been easier, because then the people from Gusii region and Nyanza would have felt, just like Natembeya and the rest, that now we have this outfit that is ours. Now we are using it to go to the national platform. That expectation is very well valid, because that is the formula of politics in Kenya. I also feel when he talks about when Dr. Fred Matiang'i was seen with certain individuals, it created a level of mistrust. It's the same way when I went to pick him up at the airport, and people know me at that time for being a fierce defender of William Ruto. But when they understood what had happened and how I just needed to be able to guide the people and tell them, guys, listen, I've been in that kitchen and I know they are poisoning you. And, you know, this is my cousin. I wanted to see what it's about. I went to pick him up. So there was some sort of, at the beginning, like, what is Oroba doing with Matiang'i? But with time, they saw that indeed my intentions were very clear and forthright and honest, and in fact a value addition to whichever political formation I go to. Mm-hmm. The problem that is happening now, the people that he is alluding to and talking about and saying that these people have been seen around him, their intentions have not yet been seen to be clear and forthright and of a value addition to the movement, at least not all of them. Some people are outright, as he has said, agents of distraction who have actually been sent and planted there. Now, one thing that people don't understand about Dr. Fred Matiang'i, he's a very open person, and he's not a politician. When I started, I was not a politician. There are things that I did different, and people would not understand. And they would say, you know, these people, you should not hang out with them because this is, but because I was not a politician, I didn't follow the black and white path. Dr. Fred Matiang'i is not, he's a technocrat. He's coming from World Bank in the US. He's coming to vie for political office, and he has a lot of political learning to do. So the expectations that we have of him as politicians might not be met, but he needs to tread very carefully. And one thing I want to add, and this will be very controversial, I'm sure I'll be quoted all day and down to the weekend. Myself, the day that Raila Odinga will leave the broad-based government and join Matiang'i, myself, I will not be part of that movement.
Why not?
Because then I don't believe it. I will not believe that the intentions will be clear. I will not believe that this man that has pushed the broad-based government and everything that is happening wrong in that government will now come with clean hands to join that movement. Because there's a lot of talk that Raila wants to leave the broad-based and he wants to join Fred Matiang'i. And there are things that even as a politician, if I see that happening, I will know, okay, we are doomed, because we might be sitting in the same merry-go-round where you are pushing this kind of change, you know, this kind of movement, because now we want to liberate this country. And then ahead of time, people join in and you think that they're forthright. And maybe a month, 2 months down the line, they start telling you, listen, we actually have a candidate in William Ruto. I don't think it would be wise. So going forward, as a person who comes from the region, indeed, what
Dr.
Mbai is saying here, it can paint an image of distrust. And I think Dr. Fred Matiang'i and his team, they need to be aware of it, and they need to listen to it, because the one thing that William Ruto stopped doing is he stopped listening, and that is when it went downhill and we had demonstrations and everything went wrong.
Mwalimu, you wanted to contribute to this debate as well.
Yes, I think it has taken a dimension that is not useful to the country and the future of this.
What are you talking about?
True.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Allow me. You had your chance.
No, but
No, you had your chance.
Explain.
Yeah, but we did not. No. But we did not demean him.
No.
But we did not demean him.
Let him explain
We
himself.
did not demean him.
He's here.
Not demean.
Yeah.
I'm
He
explaining.
can explain,
Let him
but do not
I'm explaining.
belittle
You are
or
my
demean.
friends.
Yeah.
I'll explain it on
Yeah.
set. Balkanizing the country to ethnic control is not the best of things to do. And that's the line of arguments we are picking from here. And I also wish to repart. You know, trying to reduce Uhuru Kenyatta to look like he's a Kiambu leader or a Mount Kenya leader or some political party leader, a political party that is dead. You can't associate a statesman with a dead political party. And we saw at wherever, that conference, the only 4 Jubilee MPs out of 32 who were elected. And I think my argument here is that Uhuru Kenyatta is a statesman. Let him be. He was elected by Kenyans. He led Kenya for 10 years. He did what he did, good or bad. Let us not go into that. He retired and handed over. Let him remain within the gallery of statesmen and conduct himself as a statesman, as per the culture, the laws, and the dictates of this country. That does not mean his political rights are taken away. We need to build that culture. And that's why I said in 2032, when President William Ruto shall retire, we don't expect him to come and do these little things. Let him engage. Be statesmen. The gallery of presidents and the institutions of retired presidents should be revered. They can't reduce themselves to this kind of ethnic hegemony of trying to build this and that. And I wish to state, if it is said agriculture has collapsed, is it not during Uhuru Kenyatta's time that there was a lot of...
No. Let him go that direction. No. I love it. Allow him so that we can also...
I thought... So, Fred, I thought Sosion... No.
It's okay.
No. Allow me.
I saw him writing notes. I didn't know he was writing such things.
But because of time, Sosion, I'll ask you not to...
No, that's a fact.
Yeah.
No.
Did we not see subsidies to food, subsidies to being pumped by Uhuru administration at that time?
Oh.
And we've seen the reverse.
The reverse is that they steal the fertilizer.
Where is Uhuru coming in this matter?
The reverse is that they steal the fertilizer.
Is he the president? No, wait a minute.
Allow me to ask
Fred, can I
thought you were contributing not just about Uhuru, but also the debate about Fred Matiang'i.
I'm contributing.
He has nothing valuable to talk about Fred Matiang'i.
Fred, these are the people. When Uhuru appeared, they went all over the press.
No. Let's do it in an orderly manner now. When Association, it's only you we are listening to now.
Correct.
Content is important.
Correct.
Content.
And they should not heckle. Agriculture is now reformed effectively. And data is clear. No. When in 2022, Kenya could produce 34 million
people
bags,
are uprooting.
And now with subsidized fertilizers, we can do 70 million bags. There is great progress in that space, and we need to have it sustained and made profitable to Kenyans. When we talk about health, it was Linda Mama. It's now Linda Chami. UHC is working. It is universal health coverage is working despite the few teething problems. This is a noble initiative. I've worked in the healthcare space for a long time and reduced insurance cover for teachers. And those who are making noise are those who never went to hospital for treatment.
Right.
But people who were treated gave stories. There are testimonies now in Kenya. Tourism is booming now in Kenya. It has not collapsed. So I think it is wrong to present inaccurate data. Let us deal with clear data that is good for the country.
About our time. So
I'm
going to give each one of you some moment for your final remarks.
Yeah.
But
before that,
we don't have time.
You know, he's spoken about Linda Mama as a man. You can't allow this panel to go home that it is a man telling us Linda Mama is working. And by the way, he's talking about the people who are saying it's not working. I've never been to hospital. I just gave birth, Fred. My child is 10 months. Me, I carried a person in my stomach and gave birth. I was in Mama Lucy and Mbagathi. For all my clinics, it is on record. So I will be the one to tell you whether Linda Mama works, whether Linda Jamii works. And I told this to Aden Duale in Senate. I told this to the president directly. I have been saying, guys, how many of you have given birth during this time where you're switching from Linda Mama to Linda Jamii or whatever the hell it is? Fred, to date, and Soshon is in the group where we were in together, where I asked, can we be given a service charter? They say that Linda Jamii works. I was asked to pay for my scan in a government hospital because it is not covered under that Linda Jamii. I could not be told how many visits of antenatal are covered. Linda Mama had 4 antenatal visits, actually 4 ANC visits. It covered scans, it covered delivery, it covered all the complications before and after. Nobody had to ask me to pay for any blood tests, which in this they're Linda Jamii. So let men, have you seen, Fred, that ever since the president talked about Linda Mama, the only people who replied are men. Aden Duale, a Muslim Somali man, was convincing Kenyans that women who give birth in government hospitals, everything is catered for. Aden Duale, I'm 100% sure that when his wife, one of his wives, however many he has, are pregnant, he doesn't even know until they come home with the baby. I can tell you that for a fact, from a cultural point, as a Muslim man, and as a Somali man. 2 perspectives. He's the one telling us that maternal health care is working. The next person who came out to defend it is the governor for Mombasa, another Muslim man.
Okay.
You know, the next person to defend it now is Sosion. The other person who's defending online, men. Can you ask the women in government to come out and say they have given birth and Linda Jamii works? I have given birth under Linda Jamii and it does not work. I have asked for a service charter. They have never given a service charter. So anyone telling you that Linda Jamii works for maternal health care, unless they are a woman,
okay,
don't believe
I'll add you one more minute for your parting shot.
My parting shot is this. There are so many things that Uhuru Kenyatta's government messed up, as he has rightfully pointed. Stopping the fertilizer subsidies. This government went and said, fertilizer now we are going to subsidize, but you know what we are going to do? We are going to do business with it. We had the fertilizer scandal that was even brought to the Senate. We were opening bags of fertilizer to verify that indeed if it was fertilizer or all sorts of nonsense. We know how that went down. On top of that, we know how much money is being made because every single project or program of the Kenya Kwanza administration is almost immediately it is launched, taken over by cartels of business.
Okay.
Everyone in that organization, everyone, to the person at the gate of State House is a tenderpreneur. And that is what is wrong with all the manifesto that we put out. And when he talked about Uhuru Kenyatta's ills and his government and where they went wrong, he forgot to talk about the management equipment services, where under Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, there was so much corruption for people leasing out all this big equipment that was not functioning. It didn't have people to operate it. Guess who relaunched the same thing? Guess who relaunched it? The Kenya Kwanza government, less than 4 months ago, relaunched the managed equipment services that we went on studio and fought against. Why? Because they realized, oh, this thing, we can make money out of it. So my final remarks as to the state of the nation right now is, number one, you cannot have a country where your healthcare has broken down, is not functioning. Okay. Your education, broken down, not functioning. Agriculture, broken down, not functioning. Tourism is a fallacy. Our numbers not functioning.
And we're out of time. Yeah.
And then you come back and tell us, kumi bila break. Kumi ya nini?
All right.
You are trying to fix things that were not broken. You've broken them further.
Thank you, Gloria.
Kumi to kuongeze kumi, so that sasa, not only do we burn down parliament, now we come and burn down literally all these government offices.
All right. Dr. Mbai, your 1 minute starts.
Thank you so much. First of all, let us from today stop all this narrowing ourselves, lowering ourselves to the issue of answering back the former President of the Republic of Kenya. That is mannerless. I want to say it is mannerless. I want to tell all the people from Kenya Kwanza, they are the ones in government. I saw like 20 of them, oh, Uhuru Kenyatta this, oh, go home, please. And so please take that message very clearly to them. We don't know these kind of things. Let's go ahead. The people who took over presidency in Kenya, Fred, they asked for a job because they knew the kind of problems that Kenya had. All the way from youth unemployment, issues on the debts, public debts. That's why they took the office. Stop telling us, oh, Uhuru did, Uhuru didn't do. No, you are the one currently in power. No, so number two, look at what we are seeing. Reviewed. Sports, 20 seconds. Sports Kenya spent 607 million on ghost stadiums. University strike today, they are still on strike, university dons. But we can get 100 million to dish out in cash.
Imagine.
To bribe teachers.
Where is it coming from?
Listen, we are talking because today is the anniversary, ago just got off. We had 10 value chains that were supposed to boost productivity and manufacturing. Farmers in Kericho have uprooted their tea bushes because the guarantee minimum returns is not there. Now, Fred, the 100 million we are giving every day in State House. Why can't you take it to the farmers, boost them so that they can get that 10,000 every day? It is a result of misplaced priority. And finally, if they are going to force teachers and police to go to SHA by November, we are going to court to order all the senior civil servants. They depart from the private medical insurance they have, they also go to SHA.
All right. Finally, Bwana Sosio,
I
60
think
seconds only.
It is far much easier to try and be negative and bastardize everything. And I don't think that is what we need in terms of reforming our country and transforming our country. For purposes of elections and political rights, because that is where it's exercised, once voting is done, it is done. You'll have to wait for 5 years. I think it's important to build positivism and let Kenyans who are eligible to register as voters to register now. And we reduce all this lamentation across board. And those who have registered should plan to vote on the election date in 2027. Two, negativism about the transformational programs in this country, I don't think is right. Positive criticism and pointing out issues and gaps clearly is the right thing to do. Agriculture is doing very well despite the gaps. The health sector, UHC, not easy to roll out. It is working. Tourism, the indicators in terms of tourist numbers and money coming in through tourism. Reforms in education are phenomenal for those who don't see. The ruining of the sector and the genocide against Kenyan children was committed by one Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who apparently was...
That's why we have lecturers out on the streets and teachers on the streets. That's why we have lecturers. It's phenomenally working. That's why we have lecturers out there.
Our time is up.
Really?
Allow me to acknowledge.
Sosyon, you should be very ashamed of
Thank you so much, Mwalimu.
I am not ashamed.
Thank you so much.
It's working. That's why the lecturers are out there.
Don't feel bitter with
That's why lecturers are out there.
We can't hear any of you because your mics are distracted by each other. Wilson Sosyon, veteran educationist, unionist, and also a former member of the National Assembly. Asante Sana. Gloria Roba, former senator, and Dr. Peter Mbae, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at the DCP. As we wind up, just a quick look at some of your comments, and I hope I'll have time for this. Bona Director, kindly allow me this one. Quite a number of feedback here. We should have listened to President Uhuru Kenyatta back then, and maybe even this time round, maybe, just maybe. That's Murugi Gitonga. And someone else, Lusigi, says, Sosyon targeting Uhuru Kenyatta only as retired but active in politics as Jubilee leader. He's asking a question. Raila Odinga is retired Prime Minister. Is he not a leader of ODM? Kalonzo is retired VP, also a leader of Wiper. Yes, Gachagua. I can see someone talking about Gachagua here. And Gachagua akona madharau, alisema all small parties in Mount Kenya should fall, na anasahau DCP haina hata MCA. Anyway, Uhuru has so much power sana as an incumbent, he can surely shake the strength. Incumbent, no, he's a retired president. He can surely shake DCP in the region. That's according to Gladson Obwamu. Enigma Gwambo Jadero Amolo Odinga will change the political trajectory in Kenya 2027. That's according to Wile. And Irene Mokobi says, I love Uruoba's argument. KK has shown us first time and tried and untested projects, runaway corruption, Broadway abduction, and killings, breakdown of all key sectors. Lusigi Justus, eti healthcare is working according to Sosyon. Where Sosyon uko Planet Kenya ama uko wapi? Swali tu. Thank you so much for your time at TV47. The headlines today, and I think this should have been the biggest one, 136 newborns dead amid Kiambu doctors' strike.
Linda, mama is not needed.
Yes, Haiti, pain and death, that's the standard. Ogamba matters the education. He has ordered the JSS teachers to remain under primary heads. Business Daily, 3/4 of farms fail to pay corporate tax. Those are the headlines today. Thank you, nation. Let's hope for better headlines tomorrow. Good morning.